I can understand English, but I cannot speak it. What should I do about it? So, what do you think that happens? Another question is sometimes I start a sentence and then get stuck halfway. How can I handle that naturally?
Of people, if I take the example, if I give you, I live in Delhi, right? That's how we
Hmm.
say it in a simple present tense. But a lot of people say I'm living in Delhi, so
Hmm.
that's a wrong sentence. You don't have
Hmm.
to use ing when you talk about daily things.
Great follow up question would be, what do you think is better, self study or joining a paid session? Now, you
They
answer. Often get confused between the tenses when they're speaking, and that's why they get stuck. They don't know whether they are using the right tense or not, and they.
we say it vegetable, so it's vegetable. There's no need of
Hmm.
saying vegetable.
For
Yeah,
example, color, COLOR, and there is COLOUR. So we have always studied COLOUR. But if we are watching a Netflix series, a US series, then it's COLOR. People might get confused. Is there any one or two books that you could recommend to a beginner?
will recommend
Hmm.
Robin Sharma's book, Who Will Cry When I Die, or The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Hmm.
So try to go with this kind of books.
Hi, Janil. How are you? How are things going? I think the last time we connected was 5 or 6 months ago. It's been a long time, right?
Yes, I guess it's been a minute. Like when you started your channel, at that time we connected. But I want to say kudos to you. Your channel has grown exponentially. So yeah, you are doing quite amazing over there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, I was just talking about you. Do
Really?
you know
Okay.
Shiva?
Shiva, yeah, he met me. Yeah,
I was just talking to him about you. And so we were discussing how you're the only one who is actually putting in the effort to bring in people from other countries to your channel because nobody else is doing that. So I really
yeah, that's right.
appreciate you. And I think whenever somebody asks me, like, what's the most underrated channel, I always name your channel because the work that you do, it's pretty awesome. Thank you for
Thank
doing
you. I
the
appreciate
things that you do,
it.
actually. Okay, so today's session is actually going to be a lot different from what I usually post because what I usually do is I would just have a conversation with somebody about English, about their English journey, and that's pretty much about it. However, for today's session, because you are a seasoned tutor, I think you would be the best person for this. I have written down a couple of questions that beginners usually have, and they are pretty common, but they are still stuck on those questions. So if you're okay answering those questions, I would love to discuss those
No,
questions with you.
definitely. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Why not? Looking
Yeah, so
forward.
I'd be glancing down on my phone occasionally because I've written down the
Hmm.
questions there and I
Got
don't really want to miss out on the questions. So yeah. The first one will be that it's the most common one. I can understand English, but I cannot speak it. What should I do about it? So, what do you think that happens, and what are the solutions that you could provide to somebody that asks you that question?
Usually it happens a lot. Like it's a
Mm,
no-brainer. In
mm,
India, we nearly like we don't get the chance to speak in English.
yeah.
Like neither do we have the surrounding nor like we have the, even we don't watch sometimes content. Like I ask my students, they are into
Mm,
South Indian films or they watch Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. So
mm,
I sometimes tell them rather watch something genuine, like watch something in English. So you'll try to, kill two birds with a stone. You'll get entertainment also, as well as you can learn English out of it. So it has to be something like English is not merely language, it's a
mm,
lifestyle. So I
yeah.
feel like you have to instill it in. You have to
Mm,
instill that language in yourself, whatever you do. I often say it like sometimes I exaggerate that breathe this language. No
mm,
matter what you do, watch something in English, read something in English. So you have to, it's amalgamation of things. Once you do that, once you feel like you are cozy enough with this language, then you won't have this kind of obstacles.
mm. So basically, if somebody enjoys entertainment, they just have to replace their entertainment sources with English. So yeah, that would
Definitely.
be a win-win situation, wouldn't it be?
Yeah,
Personally,
definitely.
that
Yeah.
helped me a lot. I think I talked to you about this as well. From a very
Hmm.
early age, I think from the age of 13 or so, I replaced all my entertainment sources with English. So I've just been watching Netflix series or movies or um and with the same genre. So I enjoy murder mystery thrillers, and I'm still doing that, just replacing all my sources with English. So that's cool. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. That's what I do.
Hmm.
I started my journey like that itself because I
Yeah.
studied entirely English medium school, but
Hmm.
I didn't know even a goddamn word in English or like a
Hmm.
sentence in English, how to say it in English. It
Hmm.
was really challenging, and then I realized that it was just for the sake of calling it as an English medium school. Then I joined spoken English classes. That's my sir was really into literature and films and all, and that's
Hmm.
how I got inspired, you know. So I watch,
Hmm.
like, I'm a big movie buff, as you know. I watch black and white films, I watch new films, I watch it,
Hmm.
I try to learn it, and it's kind of a therapeutic, you know, it's a systematic and therapeutic process. So I do
Hmm.
that.
Okay, so the second question would be that, for example, we are having a session right now, and the situation could be that right before I join the Zoom session, in my mind, I could be, speaking perfect English, or even with myself, I'm speaking really good English. But as soon as I join the session, my mind is going to go blank. I would be short of
Mhm.
words. I wouldn't know what to say. So, how does one overcome that? Which means, I mean, that shows that they do know English, but in the right setting, they are not really able to articulate their thoughts. So, why does that happen? And what do you think should we provide as the solution for that?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say that it depends on with whom you are having a conversation. If there
Hmm.
is a teacher, there's no need of, you know, feeling shy in front of him or her. You can
Hmm.
be like yourself, and even if you make mistakes, that means you are like on the journey of, you know, learning.
Hmm.
So for that instance, you don't have to worry about it. If you are
Yeah.
doing it with other people, like learners like you, they are not perfect. No one is gonna judge you. In the back of our mind, we often have this, you know, same thought notion that people will just judge us and make fun of us.
Yeah.
How will they even do that? They don't even themselves have the knowledge. So
Hmm.
it's a preposterous thing to even think like that way. And the third thing, if you're in an office or you're having like a presentation or something, then I guess you have to work on it.
Hmm.
There are no shortcuts of it. You have to read books. You have to, like I said, do all the things, because
Yeah.
once you enter in corporate life and all, you have to be prepared or take online classes. You cannot, like, people have this assumption, they are under the impression that, you know, they can learn English by themselves. You can
Hmm.
do it, but up to some extent. After that, I guess you need a tutor who can help you, guide you.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay, so a great follow-up question would be, what do you think is better, self-study or joining a paid session? Now, you answered the question that paid session is obviously something that somebody would have to jump to eventually. But what about the initial stage? Do you think somebody should work upon themselves initially, or just directly purchase a course or take a subscription? What do you think?
Look, it varies from individual to individual.
Hmm.
However, having said that, like, I would say that if you do it on your own, self-study, eventually, like, we are at the end, we are human beings, so we tend to
Hmm.
procrastinate.
Yeah.
So we will fall into that trap. We will procrastinate. We'll do it later. Take a rain check. So when you have paid for something, you'll be at least some sort of serious for it. That I have paid my goddamn fees for it. So
Hmm.
whether I like it or not, I have to take the sessions. My money is invested in it. So
Hmm.
for that reason, that psychology, I feel like you need to pay money. And if everything was possible, if everything was kind of self-study, there would not be any institutions or anything like that.
Hmm.
Now everything is like chat GPT and all the things happen, but people still take classes, and you
Hmm.
need human touch as well. So I would like, if you are financially capable, I guess you should hire a tutor.
Hmm. Yeah, I think having a tutor is a plus point because they provide you with structured session, because somebody might not know. Now they can search on YouTube how to learn English, and there would be endless videos, and everybody
Yep.
has their own technique. So they might get confused on how to start on this journey. So I think,
Mm,
yes, if you can afford financially, I think having a tutor would be a good option.
definitely.
Yeah.
And we have to bear in mind that the person who wants to learn English,
Hmm.
It's not his only goal, right? Like 24 hours into 7, he cannot do that. I'm an
Hmm.
English teacher, so I can be in that surrounding for my
Yeah.
entire day. But for that person, he has to dedicate 1 or 2 hours maximum.
Hmm.
So he has to invest it wisely. Like we are often bombarded with a lot of things on YouTube. I don't think that would be a wise choice. If
Hmm.
that person is studious enough, like I said, it varies from individual to individual. But
Hmm.
for, I would say, I'll go with the teachers that you should hire a teacher or a tutor.
Okay, so the next question that somebody asked in my email and I rephrased it is, sometimes I know what to say in my mother tongue, but I can't translate it fast enough. And how do I fix that? For example, if we are having a conversation right now, you give me a specific topic. Now, in Hindi, I can go on and on and on about that. But now, first, I have to translate it in my head and then I'll have to speak in English. So how do I fix that? Because in real time conversation, as like right now, that wouldn't be useful translating every single thing in your head. So what do you suggest for that?
Again, the suggestion would be the same, but what that person can do is like in terms of translation, that thing
Hmm.
doesn't work in real life. So you have
Hmm.
to hone your skills up to that level that there won't be the need of translation.
Yeah.
And like my mother tongue is Gujarati, so Gujarati and English both are like apples and oranges. You cannot
Hmm.
do the accurate translation. So that thing itself is futile if you do it, and translation won't work in real life. So
Hmm.
I don't think that it's the right way to approach anything. If you run out of words, pause. Like fluent doesn't mean that you speak, in a minute, a mile a minute. You don't have to speak like that. You can stay calm. You can gather your thoughts. Sometimes, like I often tell it to my student, as you ask me a question, if you wanna go with the flow, like if you ask me where I am from, like I would say that, wow, nice question, where I am from. So I repeat the question and then I add on one sentence. So by that time, you have two sentences. What
Hmm.
would I like to do in my free time? That's a nice question. What would I like to do in my free time? Well, I would say that I like to do this and that. So repeat the
Hmm.
question. Your one sentence will be done, and second, you can add on it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think even for publics, I
Yeah,
think public speakers also recommend doing this. So it
yeah.
gives you an illusion that you are just repeating the question, but in your mind, you're already thinking about the next sentence that you are going to be speaking.
And also the fluency. If you
Yeah.
utter one sentence, you are already like you have uttered that sentence
Hmm.
fluently. So confidence-wise, also you'll feel like now you can do it.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now comes like the most asked question. Should I focus on grammar rules while speaking, or should I just start speaking freely? What's your take on that, Janil?
I would say do both because
Hmm.
English is not our native language. So first you have
Yeah.
to go through the chapters of grammar. You have to
Hmm.
learn it, how to say it. And I feel like if you are not good at grammar, what you're gonna do is you might be fluent, but you'll end up making a lot of mistakes.
Hmm.
Like fluency and accuracy are different things.
Yeah.
So if you want to be fluent, it's a good, but accuracy has to be there. Like
Hmm.
what's the point if you are fluent and if you end up making a lot of mistakes? It
Hmm.
won't have that kind of an impact. So I would say that do both of the things, and
Hmm.
yeah, after that you are good to go.
Okay, so um, how much time should one invest on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis? Maybe if you could give a rough structure that at least spend this much time. And what should be the ratio of grammar versus just speaking freely that one does every single day?
That depends on the burning desire. Like some
Hmm.
people, they are like, if you have the burning desire and if you have the time schedule and all, then you can do
Yeah.
it as many hours as you wish to. There's no
Hmm.
certain criteria for it. But if you are some like working professional or something, consistency matter. If you do
Hmm.
it 1 hour, but if you do it on regular basis, it's more than enough. Like consistency, you have to be consistent. I often tell to my students as well that I've been teaching for like 7 years. But if I feel like I want to take a break for 1 or 2 days, then I'll
Hmm.
have to start from square one. because
Hmm.
it's gonna hinder my fluency. So it's gonna make me rusty. So being an English teacher, also I cannot afford to take,
Hmm.
break from English,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So the second question is related to grammar itself. And somebody asked that they often get confused between the tenses when they are speaking. And that's why they get stuck. They don't know whether they are using the right tense or not. And they end up just mixing everything up. So, what would be your suggestion for that?
Uh, yeah. Again, the same thing. I guess it's a kind of old school, but the way we like um, in schools, what they do is they teach English as a subject, but it's not a
Hmm.
subject, it's a language.
Yeah.
So people who are trying to study grammar don't see it as a kind of monotonous thing or, as a subject. Just try to figure out why this is like this. A lot of people, if I take the example, if I give you, I live in Delhi, right? That's how we
Hmm.
say it in a simple present tense. But a lot of people say I'm living in Delhi, so
Hmm.
that's a wrong sentence. You don't have
Hmm.
to use ing when you talk about daily things. So these are
Hmm.
some of the rules that you have to go through, willingly or unwillingly. You have to go through the tenses. Few tenses are like 9 to 10 tenses are there, which are applicable in real life. You can skip like future perfect continuous tense. There won't be the need of it. But for
Hmm.
the like a few like other sentence tenses, you have to go with it.
Hmm.
And if you mess it up, I guess try to practice more. Try to think in English. Do it in front of a mirror, or like yeah, simply do it. Like I have my parents,
Hmm.
they don't understand, like they are not able to speak in English, but I try to talk to them in English and they reply in Gujarati.
Hmm.
So you can start with your parents, with your siblings. It's all about efforts and
Hmm.
burning desire.
Yeah, well, that's a great thing because my next question is from my mom actually. So,
Hmm. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So, because she's also learning this language. And so she says that sometimes I feel like my English sounds wrong, even though it is grammatically correct. Um, so, for example, I cannot not have this. Now, this is correct, but this might sound a bit off. So,
Yeah,
now,
sometimes even
sometimes I tell
speakers.
my mom, like, this is absolutely correct, but I'll write down the correct sentence and she'll be like, okay, I get it. And then she wouldn't believe me, then I'll have to show it to her with ChatGPT. But then she'd be like, why does it not sound right? And how do I figure out um, if a sentence is right or not grammatically? So, what's the solution to that?
First of all, it's really commendable to have this kind of curiosity to learn a language, to
Hmm.
know the nuts and bolts of something. So hats off to your mother for, going
Hmm.
into intrinsic details of it. And
Hmm.
yeah, it all starts with a curiosity. And when it comes to that, even native speakers sometimes just to look cool, they
Hmm.
deliberately do this. They
Hmm.
say the sentence in a wrong manner. You often see it in series and movies.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like even like there was a film called 12 Angry Men,
Hmm.
classic film, and in that person said that he don't like it, and the other person rectified it that he doesn't like it. So even
Hmm.
native speakers make or they deliberately do this kind of things. It's all
Hmm.
right.
Okay. One word I can think of is ain't. I think in the US they use ain't a
Yeah,
lot, but we
yeah,
don't use it over here, right? And I think it's not
yeah,
correct, but it's highly used. Is
yeah,
it correct?
yeah. No, he ain't gonna do it. Yeah, but it
Hmm.
sounds cool, I said.
Hmm.
So, yeah, they can twist it. It's their language, so they can use it as per
Hmm.
their convenience. But grammatically, I feel like that's incorrect. Yeah.
Hmm. But I think because it's not our first language, we stress about it a lot, whether it's correct or not. I mean, if
And
we are
this also,
talking, yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Were you saying something?
yeah, I was saying that we also stress a lot of words, letters, which are not necessary.
Hmm.
Like sometimes, like if I give you one example, we say it vegetable. So it's vegetable. There's no need of
Hmm.
saying vegetable. It's
Hmm.
vegetable. this kind of things we often end up making like it's
Hmm.
in our culture, but it's all right, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, and okay, one word I was just thinking about this morning randomly. Answer. People say answer because of the spelling, and it's not even their fault. I can assure from my school. I studied in DPS, but
Yeah.
initially remember that, and it's in the alphabet, it's not pronounced Z, it's Z. But we never
Mm,
learned it, and my teacher also used to say privacy. It's privacy, but I learned these things on my own. Actually, much later on.
thing with that is like Z and Z, I guess it has to do with British and American. I guess British people
Okay,
call
yeah.
it as Z
Hmm.
and Americans call it as Z. So both are correct. And same goes with, I guess, privacy and privacy,
Hmm.
if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that could be so, but actually, for example, my first grade teacher, second grade teacher, they would always say Z. And then I remember a teacher that I got in 11th grade, an amazing teacher. So she said that, that's not the correct way to say it. And then we Googled it when we went home, and then we thought, yeah, she's right. It's actually Z and
Mm,
privacy. So, and
okay.
yeah, about the answer, well, answer is nothing, answer is incorrect, but that's how my
Mm,
teachers in my first grade, second grade used to say it. So it actually becomes a habit, right? It's difficult to get rid of it
definitely,
later on.
definitely. Yeah, teachers like yeah, sometimes teachers are like, the typical teacher. He like I used to have that kind of typical teacher who
Hmm.
didn't know how to speak, but he was telling all the grammar rules and all. And yeah, in the context of what you said, I guess uh, I'm losing my like train of thoughts, but
Hmm.
uh, what was it? Yeah, we have the same thing. Yeah, that one,
Hmm.
talwar. So we call it as sword, sword. But
Hmm.
W is silent in that. It's sword.
Yeah.
Same goes with that booth. We call it as ghost, ghost.
Hmm.
So it has been instilled since our school days, because our
Hmm.
teachers used to say like that.
Yeah. Should we follow the British one or the American system? Which one? Because I say often, although naturally, I think often is used in the US, and I might be
No,
wrong.
yeah, it's UK. People often
Okay.
is UK. Like US people, they are couch potato, so they would get rid of the extra letters. And
Hmm.
UK people, they are Polish people, so they tend to use the words. T is
Hmm.
quite famous in there, water
Hmm.
and something, water, water like that. So yeah,
Hmm.
and again, I lost the trail of thoughts. I was coming to something. Yati. Yeah, the thing is, like in schools, they
Hmm.
focus more on British English, and what we want is American because we are fond of watching American films, movies. So
Hmm.
we are in on the fence, should we follow British English or we should go with American?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
in the spellings as well, it matters. For
yeah,
example, color, COLOR, and there is
mm,
COLOUR. So we have always studied COLOUR, but if we are watching a Netflix series, a US series, then it's COLOR. People might get confused. So
definitely, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Recently, I learned a phrase that was used by like British people. I was watching
Hmm.
a film. What was it? Yeah, the woman in the cabin 10, and I learned a phrase called bugger off. So it's quite common in Britishers. They often say bugger off.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes this kind of things you get from movies, and people who say that movies are waste of time. I guess you need to change your movies or you need to change your mindset, the kind of films that you watch. It's not a
Hmm.
waste of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um. Yes, another question is sometimes I start a sentence and then get stuck halfway. How can I handle that naturally? For example, somebody's approaching by mid sentence, they might realize that I don't know the exact word to say. So, how do you think they can handle that?
Hit the books. Try to read as many books as possible. Although it
Hmm.
sounds like a boring answer, but you have to read the books whether you like it or not. Because articulation, cognitive skills, creative thinking, that
Hmm.
comes when you read books. It's not going to
Yeah.
come when you watch something or so you have to read books. And yeah, I have like a big library and I tend to read books. Even my
Hmm.
students have cultivated that habit. So I often tell people. You can go with self-development books. You can go with non-fiction books, fiction books, anything that you like to do.
Hmm.
Just read.
Yeah, so that's great. Is there any one or two books that you could recommend to a beginner to begin with when they are walking on this journey of learning English?
Yeah, if you want to do something productive, I'll recommend
Hmm.
Robin Sharma's book, Who Will Cry When I Die, or The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Hmm.
So try to go with this kind of books. I
Hmm.
would uh, I would say that don't go with Chetan Bhagat books. Like his rather watch something that can read something that you can like get something from the book that you can apply
Hmm.
in your life.
Hmm.
So Robin Sharma's books are great, I guess. Yeah, for starters, beginners.
Hmm. Chetan Bhagat, I have heard of him so much, but I've never really actually read a book of his. But I remember when I was in school, he was really popular among all the girls,
Yeah,
especially. I think he writes romance novels.
a
Yeah.
lot of his like books are made into movies as well. But I
Yeah.
personally don't recommend, because if you want to do something, do it productive. So
Hmm.
you can, like, by reading anyone's book, you'll get something out of it. So
Hmm.
right now I'm into that genre, like self-development things, not the mundane, like same, but different. Like I'm for like reading a book called Focus on What Matters, and it's a
Hmm.
philosophy, stoicism, like Greek philosophers, Socrates, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca. So it tells you a lot about history. It tells you a lot about the mindset of great individuals.
Hmm.
It's
I
pretty awesome.
have I haven't really properly read a self-help book. I think I mean I have Atomic Habits on my shelf
Mhm.
untouched. I should start reading that. And I think probably it's about how to not procrastinate, but I am procrastinating to read that. I need to get into that book. I think I read
Definitely.
one or two pages, and the first thing that the author said was to wake up early. As much as I remember, he said that half of your problems would be fixed if you start making your bed and you start waking up early. Yeah, something like that. Wait, that
Yeah,
reminds me of. I think you wake up early around like 4 a.m., right?
I used to even
Okay.
like, yeah. By the way, in the light of what you are saying, wake up early. That again, like, there's a saying that goes like this: "Early bird gets the worm." I guess something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good habit. Now I usually wake up around 6 o'clock or something, not 4 o'clock. But I
Hmm.
guess it's still early, 6 o'clock. So yeah, because my last class ends at around 11 o'clock. So I have to, like,
Hmm.
when I have to hit the hay, it gets a little bit late. So I
Hmm.
cannot wake up early. But still, 6 o'clock, I would try to wake up.
Hmm. As much as
Yeah.
I remember, I think in winters also you used to wake up at around 4, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, at that time I used to take yoga classes. So it was really mandatory for me,
Yes,
for
your
the sake
yoga
of.
classes, how are they going? Are you still doing that? You used to do that online,
uh,
right?
Online, then I started offline. Yeah, like a lot
Okay.
has happened in terms of yoga. Yeah, but
Hmm.
now I'm like taking a break from yoga classes. My, like, personal practice is going
Hmm.
on. Like I do practice regularly, but I'm not teaching anyone currently.
Hmm. So are you
Yeah.
planning to rejoin that soon?
No,
Yoga?
I'm like, I told you, I work in a school, so I have to be there by 7:10 or 7:15.
Hmm.
So I cannot, like, like, it would be biting off more than I can chew. I feel like, it would eventually lead to a burnout. I'm
Hmm.
like trying to stop and smell the roses.
Hmm. So, for example, a beginner approaches you and he has no idea what to say. Like, all he can say in English is his name. My name is XYZ, that's all. So, how would you train him? What's the kind of roadmap that you would give him? Any resources that you would suggest him, etc. Like, what solutions would you provide?
First, like, when it comes to a student, I try to find the burning desire.
Hmm.
That's my inspiration. If a student has burning desire, I don't care whether it's beginner or intermediate level.
Hmm.
So, like, to answer your question, when it comes to the syllabus, I would usually go with synonyms
Hmm.
antonyms, then a few words, then eventually few idioms. Like I'm a big fan of idioms and vocabulary, so I tend to inculcate a lot of them. So I
Hmm.
go with simple idioms like a piece of cake drives me nuts,
Hmm.
spill the beans. So these are for beginners. Then eventually, it like once he starts developing and if he stays on the path, a lot of times people join the class with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, but
Hmm.
later on, yeah, they get sidetracked or they simply lose the interest in English or
Hmm.
life happens sometimes. So, and this thing, like I wanna like say it on your channel itself, to learn English is in 3 months. That's a preposterous thing. Never ever subscribe to that. Like I've been learning it for like more than 1 decade, and
Hmm.
still I'm in the process of learning. So if
Hmm.
anyone tells you that you can learn English in 3 months, never ever go to that class. It takes hell of a time.
Hmm.
A lot of you have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations and all.
Yeah,
So you have to
exactly.
have patience with the language itself.
Hmm.
Um, it's going to take a lot of time if you're a complete beginner, like you said, if he's merely able to say his sentence or something. It's going to
Hmm.
take 1.5 years or something. But
Hmm.
if he has watched some kind of YouTube videos where the YouTuber is claiming learn English in 3 months, and if he joins the class with that mindset, then it would
Hmm.
really hard for the teacher and for that person itself.
Yeah, because imagine after, like, for example, somebody is promoting their paid sessions and they say, click on this and learn English in within three
Ah,
months, you'll be, um, well, on the teacher also, it's going to have a negative impact because after 3 months, the student is going to say, well, I can't form a proper sentence.
yeah,
What do you mean? Like, where are we right now? So, and also for the guests that are on my channel, when they say that I have been learning English for 3 months, then I ask for their backstory and they have studied in English medium school. So that changes everything. Because, well, yeah, let's admit it. I mean, we have an upper hand when it comes to
yeah.
the fluency in English. For example, if somebody has studied in Hindi medium and they are going to start walking on this path compared to us, we might not have actively been learning English, but we have been learning it passively on some level. So, yeah, that also depends on that, I think.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I enjoyed my time over here. Thank you for, I guess, for inviting me on your channel. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
yeah, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for helping the audience. Genuinely, I'm sure that at least one of them would be inspired by the things that you said. Yeah. And
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.